Hey fellow flowers, Violet here, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'll be demonstrating how to make a pumpkin. For this, I'm beginning with orange gimp as well as some of this kind of holographic green, which I got from Pepperell Braiding Company. The first step is to measure out your string. So I'm going to be starting a 6x1 lanyard, which means I'll need 7 pieces of gimp. 6 of them will be equal in length. And then this last one will be the main string, and that will be a little bit longer. For specific lengths, you can check out the description box. The next step is to grasp them all at their midpoint. And then to find the midpoint of the main string, I will pull on the longer end until it gets shorter, and then I'll grab that shorter end, grab both ends of my fingers, and then even that one out. Then place all 6 strings over the main string perpendicular like so. Now we're ready to begin by making 2 loops with those main strings over all 6 strings. And now I'm going to weave over and under, alternating right and left sides with those 6 side strings. So I'll grab the first one, go over under, then grab the second row of strings. This one will go over that first orange underneath the second one. We'll grab this one from the left, over and under, going the opposite direction. And we'll just alternate this motion of weaving over and under those main strings all the way down for all 6 strings.
You make me think that I could love myself again. I'm the man of this house, I'm the man of this house. I'm the man of this house, I'm the man. And if you needed to see that I can hold it down, well, let me show you.
And then pull it all tight.
And if you needed to see that I can hold it down, well, let me show you I can hold.
Next, I'm going to do 2 straight stitches, and I'll begin by bringing this top main string down to the bottom right, and then this bottom main string up to that top left. And then I can grab a string from the top left and begin weaving all the way down, alternating left and right sides, just like we did when we started. And so I'm going to weave one and tighten it, and then I'm going to weave the second one, but I'm going to leave that one loose, and I'll show you why in just a moment. Next, as I said, we're going to be leaving the next stitch a little bit loose, and I want you to take the time to cut a couple more pieces of string like I have here. Again, I'll put lengths down in the description box. And the idea is that we're going to be adding this in so that way the body of our pumpkin gets kind of that rounded character to it. And to do so, I'll take that string that I had just cut and I'll separate the strings of my lanyard right at the midpoint. And I'm going to insert that string all the way through, then grab the other end, grab both ends of the string and pull them together. So I went underneath those 2 main strings, but in between the side strings that were already woven. And then grabbing the 2 ends of that string, pulling it till even on both sides, and then weaving it in just as if it were a normal side string. And then I can pull it all tight. And if you do it and it doesn't look quite right, there's a chance that you might have woven the strings opposite to the pattern that was already happening. So you want to just look at the pattern of the strings that you already have and try to mimic the same alternating left and right. Once that is done, we are good to go to weave 2 more straight stitches, and this will begin to take on that rounded effect because the strings are going to want to equalize in a sense because they were all just like separated by a string that was added in the middle, and that is exactly what we are going for. So after we do those 2 stitches, we are going to be adding another string in the center to give more of that rounded effect. So I'll be doing that again here, separating the strings in the middle and then sticking my finger kind of underneath to get those main strings into my view, and then I'll add that string going underneath the two main strings. Then I'll find the ends of the string, grab them both till they find the midpoint, and then weaving over and under, starting with the right string, and then I'll use the left one to go over and under those main strings. Pull that one through, and then I can tighten the entire stitch. And for this lanyard, I hope that this can serve as kind of a template for the pumpkin, because obviously if you do this and you decide to add your strings instead of at the every 2 stitches, you try to add it every 3 stitches or every 4 stitches, your pumpkin is going to have a lot different character to it than mine will. So there's a bit of variability that is allowed for this stitch to give a pumpkin character, because every pumpkin is different. We've all been to a pumpkin patch and seen all the whimsical shapes that nature puts together. So this lanyard is kind of the same. You can add the strings when you want to get your unique pumpkin. Now, after adding that string and doing 2 more straight stitches, I am prepared to now drop some strings, so that way the top of my pumpkin can get the rounded effect as it goes into the stem portion of it. So I've already woven the top few strings, and I'm just going to finish off by weaving this one last string going over and under the main string. And then looking at which strings are in the middle, this row of strings right here, this one that I'm holding on the right, and its partner over here on the left, this is the string that is in the middle of my lanyard, and I'm going to skip that. I am not going to weave this in. Instead, I'm going to go to the next row of strings, and I'm going to grab this string here on the left, and I'll weave over and under. So if you look closely, you can see that I am skipping those strings. So I had a wall of 8 strings. I am now dropping a string and going back down to 7. So I'm going to finish weaving all of the side strings, and then I will pull it all tight. So after tightening it, you will notice that there's a bit of a gap where it was expecting that string to be, but we've left that string in the middle out. And if I do another stitch, so this is now stitch number 2 after dropping that string, you'll see that the strings do kind of come back together and form that normal looking wall after a while, because as I said, the strings want to equalize. They don't really want that gap there. But you'll see also that the body of the pumpkin is now kind of rounding. So I'm going to do another stitch, and I will drop another string. So I'll begin by weaving these side strings like normal. And then when I get to that middle string here, again, I'm going to skip that row of strings that's in the center. So you'll see I just skipped another row of strings, and I'm just going straight to the bottom row of string, the bottom 3 rows of strings. So I went from 7 side strings to now 6, just like we had started with. And I can pull this tight, and you'll see again there's that little bit of a gap forming because the strings are expecting a string there. But as we do a few more stitches, I'll do 2 more, and you'll see that the lanyard gets back to its kind of like rounded shape and straightens out a little bit, just like so. So I did 2 more stitches, dropped another string, and then did 2 more. So now I'm down to 5 strings on my pumpkin, and I am ready to do the top of the pumpkin for the stem. So I'm going to get that green string out and trim 2 pieces of gimp to be equal in length. And I'm going to find their midpoint and then lay them across the face of my lanyard like so. And I'm going to weave these side strings just as if those 2 green strings were not there. And this is because I want to anchor those green strings in place, so that way I can do a circle stitch and build the stem on top. So I'm going to do, again, 2 more straight stitches of the orange, and I'm not even going to touch the green. The green is just there in the middle, and the orange is going to hold that in place. And then I will pull this tight and do 1 more stitch. Okay, so after we've pulled that tight, we are ready to actually engage with those green strings that we added 2 stitches ago. And I'm just going to quickly even those out, make sure that they're even on my lanyard. And you'll see that they're kind of locked in underneath. And now I can bring those forward and I'm going to weave a circle stitch. So to do that, I will grasp 2 of those strings, making 2 loops over the orange lanyard, and then using the other 2 green strings to weave over and under. So starting a circle stitch on top with those green strings. From here, I can pull this tight. And for my stem, I'm going to do 5 circle stitches. As I mentioned before, there's a lot of room for adding your own twist to this lanyard, no pun intended. But there's a lot of character that you can add. So you can do 5, you can do 10. It's really up to you. But here it is after 5 stitches, and I'm going to now add the vine part to give kind of the curly top to it. So to do that, I am grasping one of those 4 strings, and I have made a loop with it, and then using its neighboring string, I will wrap around the loop, like so. I went and wrapped around it, and now I'm going to fold a loop and push it through. So I'll show you holding that holding the first loop in place. I'll make a second loop and then insert that loop into this one. And then I like to put my finger in it to hold it in place while I pull the other string tight. And then you can also pull on that loop a little bit to even it out. And voila, we have now our loop started for the butterfly stitch. I do have a full video on how to do the butterfly stitch, which I will include in the description box if you'd like some more help on this stitch. But it just involves make a loop, insert it through the loop, hold the loop, pull tight. And then you can tighten the loop a bit, and then we just alternate. So loop into the loop, put the finger through, pull it tight. And we will do this all the way down until we run out of string, and then we can just tie a little knot at the end. So I'm going to do this with both sides of the green strings. Okay, so I finished the first vine, and now I'm going to do the same thing with the other 2 strings. So making that loop, wrapping around the loop, make a loop again, insert that into the loop that we just wrapped around, and pull both strings until they are tight, and begin that alternating of inserting the loop steps. And to finish, we can pull all of our strings tight and then trim, and that is how you make the pumpkin keychain. So thank you for tuning in for this spooky tutorial and for keeping the love and nostalgia for lanyard making alive. Keep blooming, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.